We've got an epic quarterback duel brewing in Knoxville. You're not going to want to miss it. Diego Pavia versus Joey Aguilar. You better buckle up. It's going to be quite the ride.
Good ball.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It is a college crossover edition of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcasting network in the industry. We're crossing it over. It's Locked On Vandy. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Joining me from Locked On Vols is Eric Cain, and we've got an exciting show for you here on this crossover edition. It's brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So download the app today. But, this lineup, man, it's going to be exciting. Well, of course, we're going to make our predictions at the end of the show for this game, but we're going to talk about just like the style of these offenses, how Tennessee has kind of adjusted a little bit to Joey Aguilar's style and what he's used to coming in from App State, and how Vanderbilt's offense has evolved from a ball control, run heavy offense to now they're explosive down the field as well. But the most important thing about this matchup is obviously going to be the quarterbacks. You have Diego Pavia, Heisman hopeful, Joey Aguilar, also just absolutely dynamic throwing the ball down the field. It's just points are going to be aplenty in this game, Eric. What do you see when you look at this matchup? You and I were talking a little bit off air. We decided like these quarterbacks are very similar in a lot of ways.
No, they are. They definitely are. And, by the way, everybody's talking about all these points, and myself included, love the over and all that. Get ready for a 24 to 14 final, or 21 to 17 or something
like that. Yeah.
I would be shocked again because Tennessee scores a lot and gives up a lot. But no, two quarterbacks are very similar. And I did a show earlier this week, right? Obviously they both have the junior college ties, and reportedly you've got Joey Aguilar joining the lawsuit with Diego Pavia's law team and as a plaintiff. And of course, Pavia's going to go explore NFL opportunity. He's done after this year, but trying to wipe out that JUCO rule. So if that wins, like Aguilar and other people in his position will have Diego Pavia to thank for that. And so I just think that's a cool little layer to this whole thing. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
They came the junior college route. Pavia goes to Vanderbilt. Like, you're not expected to win a whole lot there, but he's playing in the SEC. Aguilar goes to Tennessee, which is awesome, but again, it's in May. It's Nico leaves into spring practice. You go straight into install. You don't know your teammates. Your world is spinning, and so it's not like they went into great situations and all they've done is ball out. Obviously, Pavia started balling out for Vanderbilt last year, but he's evolved as a quarterback and great down the field passer, his pocket presence, all that and more. He's not just an athlete really, playing the quarterback position. He's still going to run it, and he's still going to do a really efficient job in that manner, but he's turned into like a complete quarterback. Joey Aguilar had his strengths coming in here. He could sling it around the yard. He could throw the deep ball pretty well, but it was more like being reckless with the football. And for 3/4 of the season, man, he took great care of the football. Like here, the last 4 games or whatever, he's kind of been a turnover machine. He wasn't against Florida, but turned it over twice in the first half against New Mexico State and against Oklahoma. Had the pick 6 before the half against Alabama. But overall, man, Joey Aguilar has been great, and he's unlocked this offense. Tennessee's offense looks like it did with Hendon Hooker, and it's been so much fun. But these two quarterbacks, two of the best deep passers in the country. Look at the numbers. I talked about it earlier this week on Pro Football Focus. Unreal. Two of the best deep passers in the country. They are so exciting to watch. They're underdog stories, and Aguilar's quarterbacking for one of the best offenses in the country, and Pavia's quarterbacking for a playoff hopeful, and he's a Heisman hopeful. Again, nationally, this is the best quarterback matchup of the weekend. This is one of the best quarterback matchups of the year, and it's two guys that nobody would have even considered this back in July or May.
No, absolutely. Even when we did our crossover in the summer, I don't think either one of us, I thought Diego would have a great season. Not in this capacity. I thought he'd lead the league in rushing. He would have a good enough passing statistics to get Vanderbilt to 8 or 9 wins. And I thought Vanderbilt would be a viable team because of his leadership qualities and the things he could do in the rushing game and the things he can do short, intermediate with some RPO stuff, some screen stuff, some option stuff. And I thought that's going to be how they were going to take care of their wins, which early in the season, yeah, they did. They were extremely efficient at doing that. They were able to hit some short passes, dink and dunk down the field, ball control, all that stuff. But then all of a sudden, you get in the second half of that Texas game, a little bit of desperation, click something with this offense, and he just unlocked something. And it's been a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, he's made some NFL caliber throws. That throw he made to Tre Richardson on that 70-yard bomb last week was outstanding. I mean, he couldn't have walked over there and placed it in his hands any better than he did. So the thing I noticed about Joey Aguilar is you watch him against Syracuse, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna take it with a little bit of grain of salt. It's Syracuse, and then the next week y'all played ETSU. So it's like, okay, all right, it's ETSU. So okay, now you got Georgia. Let's see what he does against Georgia, and we'll get a true idea of who he is. He goes up and they didn't end up winning that game, but I mean, he was throwing. It wasn't because of Joey Aguilar. I can tell you that for sure. And
he had five total touchdowns in that game. I think he threw for 4. He almost had 400 yards passing, 21 points in the first quarter. That's the game where expectations change for Tennessee, because I think a lot of people thought college football playoff aspirations, but then you lose your quarterback last day of spring, and you're like, well, okay, you're getting this guy from App State / UCLA. What's going to happen here? And then I think everybody will be like, 9-3 Citrus Bowl. Yeah, heck of a season. But you saw that half against Georgia, and you're like, oh, Tennessee can win games in the college football playoff. And then, so to your point, against Georgia, that's when everybody's like, oh, this Joey Aguilar guy, man, it don't matter who he's playing. He's going to throw the crap out of the ball.
He is efficient. So I was racking my brain in a previous episode this week. Where's the edge in this matchup? For me, I just think the experience with Pavia, with doing a whole full lap around this league last season, is done wonders. His health has been there, his downfield passing. I just think that Diego Pavia just has some of those intangible edges right now. And that's what I kind of had to stretch to find that edge, but I think that's kind of where his edge. What edge does Joey Aguilar have in this?
Well, when we look at Joey Aguilar specifically, his edge, and I mean this is no disrespect, because I think the skill's gotten much better around Diego Pavia outside of just Stowers. You mentioned Richardson; he's come alive a little bit. Sherrill's been there for a while. I think the edge Aguilar has is, man, he's got really good players around him. Chris Brazzell was one of the best wide receivers in the country the first half of the season. His production slowed up a little bit, but Braylon Staley's one of the best slot receivers in the country. All three, Mike Matthews, all 3 of these wide receivers are over 700 yards. The only team in Power 4 that's accomplished that this year. Ole Miss has done it a couple of times in recent memory. Heupel did it when he was the OC at Missouri. Alabama's done it a little bit, but you have a trio of wide receivers all over 700 yards, a chance for 2 to get over 1,000 if you played that bowl game. So again, he's got a lot of weapons around him. Also, I just think that, and I haven't watched enough Pavia to know if he kind of has this. It's kind of funny to say this. Again, for most of the year, Aguilar's been so careful and he's not put the ball in harm's way. That loosened a little bit against Oklahoma, New Mexico State, and Alabama at the half. But still, even with that, man, he just takes what the defense gives him. He'll take off and run sometimes. He'll throw the underneath route sometimes. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's really good at getting out of sacks. And he's not the fleetest of foot, but he just keeps his feet moving and he's able to escape would-be sacks. I mean, he's just a heady football player, man. He's got a little bit of a backyard football player into him, and that gets him in trouble sometimes when throwing a pick against New Mexico State a couple weeks ago. But he's just I don't know. I know I'm rambling here, but he's just a joy to watch, to be honest with you. And I think that his edge might be the guys he's throwing them to. I'm not saying that those guys make him look good, because I talked to one of them today for an interview, and Mike Matthews, I was talking to him about his year, and he was like, well, I mean, it's all to Joey, man. He makes me look good. They just complement each other very well. Mm-hmm. Edge overall, and I know we're talking quarterbacks here, and I'll be quick, but edge overall, I think both offenses should be able to throw the football very well. I think Tennessee's going to be able to run it pretty well, because I think they found something last couple of weeks to Sean Bishop. I think that, Missouri and Auburn had success against Vanderbilt, and a lot of the teams that don't really run the football well. I think Tennessee's going to have an opportunity to run the football, but an edge for Vanderbilt's going to be red zone defense. That defense, in terms of not trading 6s for 3s, that Vanderbilt defense in the red zone is really good.
Absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah,
Tennessee's red zone defense in terms of
20, I think,
touchdowns,
so.
not as good.
Yeah. And we're gonna explore all of this in more detail with the explosive offenses, how the defenses are going to manage to try to stop these offenses. We're going to talk about all of that next.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on all that action than over at FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook, official sports betting partner for the NBA. And even if you missed the start of the game or you just want to simply ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to those fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into same-game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game more exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. We're going to give our predictions for Tennessee and Vanderbilt later in this show, so stick around for segment number 3. But at the time of this recording, thanks to our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook, Tennessee's a 2.5-point home favorite. Again, typically the home team gets 3, so this is really just a toss-up, right? It's a toss-up between two of the best teams or two of the better teams in the Southeastern Conference. Neyland Stadium is a tough place to play at home. Everybody loves points. That total right now is 65.5. Ooh, man, I'll go ahead and spoiler. I might like that over just because I love both of these offenses. So whether it's college football, whether it's NBA, whether it's college basketball happening this feast week right now, get in on the action over at FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're a new customer, listen up. $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So head on over to FanDuel.com and play the game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right. Thanks for making Locked On your first listen each and every day. If you're coming over from Locked On Vandy, thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. Thanks for making Locked On Vols your first listen. And of course, all of you, thank you for making Locked On #1 in the industry. Eric Cain from Locked On Vols joining me. I'm Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy. This is probably the most exciting college crossover of the weekend because honestly, I think this matchup is the most exciting. Why do I think that? Because you have two phenomenal offenses. Josh Heupel bringing in an already explosive down the field chunk play based offense where the style is a little bit different, but the foundation is still the same. This is not the Hendon Hooker style of, quick screens, quick game, shots down the field. This is more RPO based than the Hendon Hooker version of this offense was. And this is, I think that's going to make a difference in the run game. Eric, you said the run game for Tennessee is the edge. Now for Vanderbilt, since you said that's the edge, I'm going to go defensive perspective here from Vanderbilt. And they have to, and what I thought Kentucky was going to be able to do against them, because Kentucky, as bad as they've been all year, they have been red hot the last 3 weeks coming into the Vanderbilt game. And they were taking advantage of space. And Vanderbilt did a really good job of constricting that space and making them earn every yard, and they could not do it. For Tennessee, it's going to be that. I don't know, Eric, if Vanderbilt forces Tennessee to go 12-play drive after 12-play drive after 12-play drive. I don't know, Eric, that they can sustain that. They're not built for that. That's not their identity. For Vanderbilt, that's more of their true identity. Right now, they've got this explosive offense thing going on, but they're an offense that is built to handle those long drives and patient drives. I don't know that Josh Heupel is patient enough to take 2 yards here, 3 yards here, 4 yards here, 2 yards here. I don't know if he's patient enough for that.
It's a good point, and it's hard to argue that at points in times. Now, when Tennessee goes, Tennessee is one of the best, and that's a key, for Vanderbilt. It should be to try to limit this. For Tennessee, it's you better get it. Tennessee's one of the best starting football teams in America, offensively and defensively, really. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's been really good to start football games, been really good to start the halves. So when you're on script, Tennessee does those methodical, 9-play drives, 75 yards, 8-play drives, 70 yards to begin football games.
But it's still single digits.
Yeah, that's true. Tennessee's hardly ever going to go 12, 13 player. They held the ball for 7 minutes to ice the game at Florida but you were up 31-11 and it was over. Tennessee's going to, run, set up a shot, screen, set up a shot, run. And I think at points in times, Tennessee's been very impatient with the run. They run the football. They've ran for over 2,000 yards. It's a good running team. It's not as good of a running team as it's been in years past, but it's still good. And sometimes I think they just don't wait for it. And Joey Aguilar, is thrown it over 35 times, on 4 occasions this year. In 2025, Tennessee's 1-3 when Joey Aguilar is 35 passing attempts or more. In Josh Heupel's tenure as Tennessee's head coach, Tennessee is 3-7. So to your point about not being patient enough and just throw, there's something to that, and the stats back it up. He did a good job of that in the first half against Florida, and again, Tennessee just beat the crap out of them, so the game dictated that. But Tennessee ran the ball with Deshaun Bishop 19 times in the first half, which is a really good number. They're going to have to run the football in this game. They can't get impatient, and they got to let things develop. And if they do that, then I like Tennessee's chances. But I do think that's a really good point about being patient in those long, sustaining drives.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed about what Tennessee was doing, especially in the 3 losses, because I wanted to see kind of what beat Tennessee. And for Georgia, I think Tennessee, that was such an emotional game and an emotional start. I just think they ran out of gas there at the end, and Georgia was able to, keep that even keel juice and just out physical them in the third and fourth quarters. Same with Alabama. I think Alabama just kind of held through that initial onslaught and then was able to force a couple of turnovers on some mistakes, especially right there at the goal line. That was a backbreaker. But the game that really stood out to me, Eric, was the Oklahoma game. And something about that Oklahoma game made it kind of stand out to me, because I think Vanderbilt can win games very similarly to what Oklahoma did to y'all. I think they were able to withstand that initial onslaught. They were able to get points right before half off of a turnover where Joey Aguilar, I think, and if I remember the play correctly, it was an RPO that I think he pulled and tried to throw a glance. It sailed on him, and Oklahoma picked it off and was able to get a field goal right before
Worst
half.
turnover of the year, man. And he had one very similar in the New Mexico State game. The backside pressure, he felt it. He rushed it. It sailed. He might have got hit. It sailed, and he just threw it right to the safety. And you're right. It was right before the half.
Yeah. Or was the fumble – the fumble 6, that was in the first quarter, right, where they attacked the mesh point.
Yeah, that was in the
he was
first
getting
quarter.
ready to pull it, and they drilled him.
Yes.
That was first quarter, right? Yeah. But yeah, just things like that where it's a blessing and a curse to be able to read those RPOs out, because sometimes you get a team that attacks that mesh like that, and sometimes you get in that indecision where he's not attacking the back, he's not attacking the quarterback, he's attacking that football, and the quarterback, just that moment of indecision can cause trouble like it did against Oklahoma. So to me, what did you notice about that Oklahoma game that you think Vanderbilt could take advantage of?
I mean, Tennessee couldn't run the football, and I think Vanderbilt's defense is – I mean, Alabama's defense is, in terms of total defense, they give up fewer yards by like 10 on average. But, I mean, Oklahoma's got the best defense in the country. Tennessee couldn't run the football at all. I mean, that front seven was so nasty. Tennessee just couldn't have any consistency. And again, the turnovers changed the game. And Joey Aguilar's been so great this year, and he's the reason you won all these games. He's the reason Tennessee lost that game. I mean, you the good with the bad. Those first half turnovers were just abysmal, and Tennessee never could really recover. So if I'm Vanderbilt, I'm blitzing. I am dialing it up. I am putting pressure in Joey Aguilar's face, because chances are they're going to connect on some shots down the field anyway. Okay, so just go ahead and get beat. Doing all you can. If you get beat, you get beat. It is what it is, and then try to settle up in the run. Tennessee's been. They were good against Florida, good against Arkansas. Again, not the Green Bay Packers defense, right? But they haven't been great running the football in conference this year, and I think that's been frustrating for Josh Heupel, and that's why he's been forced to go pass happy too much. And so I think if you dial the pressure, take your chances, and let him throw over his head. Now Kentucky did that, and he was perfect on passes 20 yards or more down the field. I mean, it was pretty incredible. But that's typically not going to happen every game. And then just try to settle up on the run. I think that's what Vanderbilt can do, and try to be opportunistic, because Tennessee has turned the football over some here of late. But Aguilar, for the most part, again, he's a heady quarterback. He'll make some mistakes, but he's not made a habit from the year of putting the ball in harm's way. It's just been a couple times here lately.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you flip it over and you look at, okay, Diego Pavia and his offense is on fire, but how do you stop him, right? What Texas was able to do and what Alabama was able to do was nothing special. They won one-on-one matchups Their interior linemen were able to collapse the pocket. Their edge guys, they played very patiently, especially Texas. Colin Simmons played it perfectly. He played very patiently and waited for he basically spied Diego Pavia on the line of scrimmage, waited for him to make a move, and then attacked. Like, I don't know if you have anybody that has closing speed like Colin Simmons, but that's the kind of the recipe so far in the two losses is you just play Diego Pavia patiently and you force him to make mistakes. Kentucky came after him and they couldn't get home. They couldn't get any pass rush. They couldn't stop the run. Well, they did stop the run fairly well. Vanderbilt had 65 yards rushing on the day against Kentucky, but they didn't really run the ball that much, compared to the past. But it's just being able to clog up those lanes where he's able to step up and run like LSU did not do, and teams that Vandy has beaten did not do, where he's able to escape and things like that. He's been throwing really well on rhythm lately, so that's going to be a little bit tougher to contend with. But Tre Richardson is not a huge guy. You can jostle him a little bit. Junior Sherrill's a tough receiver, but like him creating separation has been hit or miss all year long. When he's created separations, he's been phenomenal, but he's also been covered up at times too. Eli Stowers, if you can find an answer for him, that's easier said than done. That's kind of the way to go. So it's just really just kind of disrupting Diego Pavia's rhythm, not letting him step up, not letting him get the edge on you, and just kind of bottling him in and forcing him to kind of find that throwing lane instead of letting him set up, get comfortable, and release.
I said that something like this similar earlier in the week. Like, and again, this is football 101, right? I mean, your edge players have to set it. Your edge players have to set the edge, force things back inside, or let it bounce and then go make a play. And Tennessee struggled with that at points in times, more so earlier in the year, especially against the guys like Taylon Greens and some of the Ty Simpson a little bit, who's very good with escapability. Gunnar Stockton a few times. Guys that aren't really mobile but like good escapability. Tennessee has got to do that. So I think it's a huge game for those defensive ends, those Leos, and all that. Because again, if you sit there and set it and wait for him to bounce, go make a play. But to your point too, if you're not like you gotta squeeze that in man to clog up those lanes so he can't just take off right up the middle.
Interior guys are gonna have a huge game
for sure. Pavia is so good off platform.
Because if you can stop him running a gap, if you can stop Cedric Alexander and MK Young running a gap, you're gonna be a long way into stopping what Vanderbilt can do.
And Tennessee went. I know we got to go to segment 3 here, but Tennessee, in points and times in the past, Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator, when the opposing offense will come out in 12 personnel, he'll match it with 4-3. It's like the star off and go 4-3. Florida lived in 12 personnel against Tennessee, especially when they were down. They just wanted to run the football. Florida lived in 12 personnel, so Tennessee played 4-3 for the majority of that game last week. And, based on the Tennessee's personnel right now, that's how they kind of got the best players on the field. I think you can see that a little bit, maybe if you're not even in 12 personnel, but the intermediate passing game and trying to clog up those interior lanes in terms of rush. But because Pavia is so good at down the field passing, you certainly can't live with the 4-3. But I think a 4-3 can be a nice changeup because, again, it's so funny, man. You don't see 4-3s anymore. That was a base defense 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, in 2004 when they were playing. Yeah. So, but Vanderbilt's 12 personnel is like really 11.2 personnel because like Stowers is more of a weapon. So you have to kind of treat it as 11, as heavy 11, basically. With that. So we're going to make a prediction. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Who wins? Is it Vanderbilt? Is it Tennessee? Vanderbilt get to 10 wins? Does Tennessee get to 9 wins? What happens here? We'll talk about it next. But first, I want to talk to you about one of the most delicious food items that you can get, Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. You can deliver it right to my door if you'd like. And this week, the best time to jump in because Cyber Sale is here and the deals are huge, right? And I've given Omaha Steaks as a gift before. I've also gotten Omaha Steaks as a gift before. And my reaction, I was stoked because I love cooking steaks on the grill. There's no better place than my grill to get a good steak. And the excitement when the box arrives, you're just like, wow, this is going to be phenomenal. I'm about to absolutely feast here, man. The quality is exactly what you hope for. Tender steaks, rich flavors. The meals make hosting or weeknight cooking way easier. Varieties, underrated steaks, burgers, comfort meals, sides, desserts. They have these apple turnovers that you get. It's really good. And these gifts truly fit anyone. Whatever you like, they have it. And honestly, it's the kind of gift that brings people together, and you don't need to guess anyone's size. All you need to do is say, do you like beef? Yes, this is perfect gift for you. So save on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, not statewide, site-wide, and extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale. And for an additional $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, we are wrapping up here on this Locked On crossover edition with Eric Cain from Locked On Vols. I'm Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy, and we're covering your team each and every day. And for all you Vol fans, come on over to the show, man. Some of you have already visited, so and I appreciate that. Vandy fans, go check out Eric Cain if you want to check out a really good Tennessee show. Eric Cain is the place to go, man. That's the only Tennessee show you need to be listening to, right? Don't listen to the other guys. Listen to Eric. He's the dude. So it's prediction time, man. We talked, and you're gonna have to catch us on the squad show too. We had fun on the squad show. That drops later on today, actually. So check that out later on this afternoon, and just kind of see how things unfold. It's going to be an interesting one, I think. So. What do you see? How do you see this game? Obviously, I think we both alluded to that. We're definitely taking the over, so it's going to be some fireworks. How do these fireworks look? Are they orange or are they black and gold?
Well, they're going to be a little bit of every color, right? Because, I mean, I expect they're not going to shoot off fireworks and Vanderbilt scores, but I expect Tennessee to score a lot, so there's going to be all different colors. Before we get to that, can I ask you, real quick,
yeah.
And again, it's been the lead up. Everybody's talked about it. You and I both talked about it. We've done shows about it. But, I mean, this game – is this the biggest game in program history for Vanderbilt?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. Because you get 10 wins for the first time ever.
Yeah.
You're on the precipice of the college football playoff, which you're not guaranteed a spot. Unfortunately, you go 10-2, and you're not guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff in this conference. But it is what it is. And you have a potential Heisman finalist, playing his last resume builder game. And all of that at stake, you're going to get a motivated team for sure.
Yeah. I think just there's so much on the line for Vanderbilt. And so Vanderbilt's going to come out and do its thing. Unfortunately for Vanderbilt, you are going on the road and you're playing in just such a hostile environment. Obviously, Tennessee fans hate Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt fans hate Tennessee. Diego Pavia in the offseason, we all saw the Netflix doc. He has some things to say about Tennessee. Again, he's a competitor, but I think for him, that's not going to phase him at all. He's the type of guy that loves when people watch him and doubt him and all that.
Yeah.
I think he thrives in that. But it's just there's so much at stake for Vanderbilt. I'm not worried about Pavia. What about the rest of the team? That's where my questions are. Is the moment going to be too big? Maybe at first, not the entire time until you get settled in. Is the moment going to be too big for some of these other players because of everything that's at stake right now?
Well, that's a tricky question because Alabama had a lot of the similarities atmosphere-wise that Tennessee's going to have. And you come out and have a strong first half, but then you wilt away in the second half, and a lot of that was on Diego Pavia trying to play hero ball, and he got caught up in the moment. Then you go to Texas, and it's the exact opposite, where I don't think there could have been a worse start until South Carolina went to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M had that start. Until that was the worst start of the season.
Vanderbilt had a comeback like A&M did that nearly pulled it off.
They just a little too late in that game, and so it was just kind of the flip where they finally got comfortable. But this team's mature, right? And they've got a lot of veterans. Obviously, they're losing 45 guys off this roster who are going to be losing eligibility, so they're going to have a lot to replace. But this team has been just eyes on the prize, blinders, mature, let's just go out and handle business. And honestly, they were driving with 8 minutes to go to take the lead against Alabama. So, they lost it then, but that atmosphere never really rattled them. I think Diego Pavia just had a really bad game. Texas wise, they just, for some reason, they just couldn't, I don't know what happened in the first half. They just didn't have it. It was one of those games where you're just like, okay, this team just doesn't have it.
This will be the loudest environment Pavia's ever played in. I don't know if you saw the Oklahoma.
It will be, yeah.
Oklahoma Alabama game, yeah. They did that.
It will be.
Yeah. It's going to be hostile. It's going to be loud. And so sometimes teams that affects them early on, then they kind of get their footing. It's kind of like Tennessee's tempo a couple years ago. It's like, man, Tennessee smacked Georgia in the face. But then Georgia's like, okay, I'm good, and they kind of play Georgia football. So I'm intrigued to see kind
Kirby being a veteran coach too, also, and he probably prepared his team really well throughout. Like they probably never had a quiet practice.
Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see kind of what all that looks like. On Tennessee's side, again, Oklahoma knocked you out of the playoff race. You were not making the dance after Oklahoma beat you, no matter what. And Tennessee played like crap. Went on a bye, played like crap against New Mexico State, and still won, but played like crap. Went down the swamp, had 31 first half points. It's like, okay, great. Florida's not a very good football team.
They were exercising demons in that one for sure.
No doubt. Then you come back home, and for the most part, again, Tennessee doesn't lose at home outside of the Georgia Bulldogs. Already lost to Oklahoma too. Like, you're really going to lose 3 at home? Like, Tennessee does not lose at home. You're trying to get the 9 wins, and that's not that big of a deal, but you're trying to finish strong. And the motivation part here, outside of it being senior day and all that and more, it's trying to play spoiler for Vanderbilt. Like you said, Vanderbilt might win this game. Vanderbilt might be 10-2 and be left out of the college football playoffs coming from the best conference in all of football. It's a disgrace if that were to happen. But that might happen.
Yeah, but it's very much on the table.
Tennessee just wants to take that option out of the table. Tennessee wants to end Pavia's season. Tennessee wants to end Vanderbilt's season because that's what your rival wants to do. So somebody asked earlier in the week, do you think Tennessee's going to have any issues getting up for this game because it's Vanderbilt and Tennessee's out of the playoff? I'm like, no, Tennessee's wanting to do anything to play spoiler here. I think this is going to be a madhouse, man. The football side of it, I think both offenses are going to throw the football around the yard, okay? I like Tennessee's run game in this, and I know Vanderbilt's got a really good rush defense, 5th in the league, 105 yards. I look at the Auburn game, and I look at the
when you get in that red zone is where
Yeah, Auburn and Missouri. Can you punch it in when you get in the red zone? Because Vanderbilt's got such a great red zone defense in terms of not giving up touchdowns. I like where Tennessee's in the run game. I like where Joey Aguilar's throwing the football. I like Tennessee's defense to create opportunities. I mean, Vanderbilt doesn't turn the football over that much. They really don't. Tennessee defense does create some of those opportunities, very opportunistic, getting after the quarterback. I like how Tennessee, and I don't think he was 100% last year, but Tennessee got after Diego Pavia last year. He was nothing in that game. I mean, he was banged up. He was exhausted, just a shell of himself, and he just couldn't do it. And I'm not expecting that to happen, but I mean, Tennessee got after him. I expect to do that a little bit more in this one. It's just hard for me. Again, football's football. Vanderbilt's a really good team this year. I don't see Tennessee losing at home. I don't. I like Tennessee scoring points. I like Tennessee scoring a lot of points, actually. I like a lot of points being scored on both sides, and I like Tennessee scoring a lot of points. Give me Tennessee with all that extra motivation, playing at home, senior day, all that and more. Give me Tennessee winning 45-31. Yes, I think points are going to be out of this. So many times I'm too conservative in this, and then I see Tennessee score 40 points. So give me 45-31 Tennessee winning. Okay. See, I think when I look at this game, last year's game, it was Tennessee's fighting for the playoff spot. They come in to Vanderbilt super motivated against a Vanderbilt team that was kind of sputtering there at the end, but a super motivated team that got off to a really, really good start. Tennessee was able to withstand that and take care of business. And it wasn't due to a lack of motivation. It wasn't due to whatever. Vanderbilt, had obviously taken down Alabama earlier that year, so it wasn't completely unplausible for them to beat Tennessee, and then you get up 14-0, and you're like, okay, this might actually happen. Yeah. To me, I think it's going to be kind of the opposite, where like Tennessee, I think will start great because they're at home and they're ending the season. But like, I think when you have all of that extra juice and extra motivation on top of the chip on the shoulder that you already have without all of that, like if this was game one,
the chip on the shoulder you'd have for game one, but with everything else extra that's riding on it and the way this team is constructed mentally, I think that's going to add to what Vanderbilt is able to do. I think them being an extremely resilient bunch, like they get down 10 at halftime to Virginia Tech on the road. Game two, where Virginia Tech is not terrible yet, and Vandy is not in a position to win in that environment, they go out and win. They marched down at Williams-Brice before we knew South Carolina was terrible. They marched down against the hostile crowd at Williams-Brice and punch one in 10 plays. They get down against Auburn. I think they were down 10 at halftime against Auburn. They come back and win. I think they were trading punches with LSU. LSU just kept coming at them. And just all of these resilient wins have built up something in their DNA to where I think this season, and we can talk about next season, but this season I think they're equipped to win this game, and they're equipped to win this game in the fashion that I think it's going to need to be won by, which is you're going to have to win a shootout where you're just out dueling Tennessee, and really what's going to happen is Tennessee's just going to run out of time. And I think you're going to look at it and it's going to be like 45-42 Vanderbilt. Like you're just back and forth. And you're like, whoa. And your head is spinning like a tennis match. Right. And I just think you're going to get that one Heisman drive from Diego Pavia, and he's going to give the Heisman voters something to think about. And he's going to give the committee something to think about. Because I think if you go in, no matter it doesn't, the point margin doesn't matter. But I think if you go in and score 45 points in Neyland Stadium, with all this on the line, I think that's going to get the attention of the playoff committee. I don't know that that's going to help necessarily, but it will get their attention, and they will have a very tough decision to make, which is all you can do. That's all you can control. So to me, it's going to be, this season is special. It's going to end on a special note for the Vanderbilt Commodores, and they're going to win 45-42.
Should be a good one, man. Not many years that we can say, like, we can hype up this game at the end of the year and say so much is on the line. And honestly, I mean, I thought it would be Tennessee, trying to get to a playoff spot, and Vanderbilt, just like last year, trying to play and all that. But
how awesome would
reverse, man. And certainly Vanderbilt's a good team, and I'm excited to see kind of how this plays out, the emotions. Yeah. A lot of guys playing their final football game who have been here through a lot of crap and stuck it out, and other guys who are just four-year seniors that could, if they win this game in the bowl game, average 10 wins a year, which is incredible to think about. So I'm expecting fireworks aplenty at Neyland Stadium come Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And same goes for Vanderbilt, man. 2 years ago, you walk off that same field wondering if Clark Lee was going to have a job. Like that's when I started with Locked On, was when like that next week, I think I was greenlit, and I was wondering if I was going to be walking into a coaching search.
And you were secretly like, please give me a coaching search because I need the views.
I mean, yeah, I was like, maybe get a coaching search. That wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah.
But then they kept him, and all this stuff happened, so I don't regret that one bit. So it's going to be a fun ride nonetheless. And this game, again, has a lot of implications. It's going to hopefully catapult what Clark Lee and crew is trying to do beyond this season. So what we're going to find out what's going to happen. This is going to be exciting nonetheless. It's going to be an edge of your seat type of atmosphere, type of game. So you better not blink. You're going to miss it. But for Eric Cain of Locked On Vols, check him out. I'm Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy. Like and subscribe to both shows. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, because we're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one podcast network in the industry. And until next time, anchor down. Enjoy the game. If you're going, be safe, be careful, and enjoy yourself. And just sit back and enjoy some great football. Anchor down, as always. Peace!